The Shepnaz Podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shepnaz Podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm your host today. And for the month of April here at Shepherd, we have been focusing on an outside ministry called Design Outreach. We have a segment each Sunday morning called One for One, where for every attender, both in person at the Gahanna and Johnstown campus and also online, we donate $1 to another ministry. And so for the entire month of April, we're going to be gathering up those numbers and donating to Design Outreach. If that name sounds familiar to you, that's a good reason, because we've talked to Greg Bixler from Design Outreach in some previous episodes, maybe a year or two ago. But we have a new guest in today that is not new to Shepherd, but it's new to the podcast to talk about it. So welcome in, Bryan Clay.
Thanks, Joe. Good to be here.
It's good to have you. And when I say new to the podcast, but not new to Shepherd, that's probably an understatement. You've been around Shepherd for a little while, right?
Yeah, I've actually attended Shepherd all my life, and my mom worked here for 30 years, and it was just a part of my DNA to be here 3, 4, 5 times a week as I was growing up and as an adult as well.
And you have served in all kinds of various roles at the church, from probably everything from choir to board to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've done youth and preteens and post-teens and basketball and all many different things. I'm not even thinking of them all, but yeah, I'm pretty actively involved.
Well, it's great to have you on here and long overdue, but it came to my attention that you are now working with Design Outreach. We're not going to go quite there yet, because I don't want to spoil everything we're going to talk about, but we wanted to bring you in. And for those that haven't heard about Design Outreach, if you would just kind of give us an introduction to what we're talking about here.
Yeah, Design Outreach considers themselves humanitarian engineers. And what they're really trying to do, and the two founders, Greg Bixler and Abe Wright, got together about 10 plus years ago and said, hey, we can do something for low-income countries with products that would help their basic needs better than what's happening right now. And there were some good things happening back then, but Greg and Abe came at it from a point of excellence, like we need to make sustainable products that can last for a while and really help the people of low-income countries. So they started designing, well, first of all, it was a faith-based ministry from the start. The organization is bathed in prayer. Many churches support them, and it's pretty incredible, the support and the desire to share the gospel as they do these product introductions around the world. And again, what captivated me with Design Outreach was that they are meeting basic needs that we take for granted here in the United States. And they, again, they implement these products in low-income countries and do it usually with a sermon or a gospel introduction to introduce them to Christ. And to me, when you bring those two things together, that's really what excited me about DO. Again, our products are based on two different things. Number one is called WASH products. Mm-hmm. WASH stands for water and sanitation and hygiene. So you'll hear more about some of those products in a minute. And also we're developing some medical products as well. So that's the two main products. And the people that work at DO are basically a team of paid and volunteer engineers from all over the country. We have employees here in Columbus. Our main office is here in Gahanna, but we have employees in Indiana and Florida. But we have a host of volunteers who have retired from big organizations that are involved with phone calls with our paid engineers every day, offering their expertise to really fine-tune and hone in on these products so they really work properly.
And I think it's just a testament to how we can serve as believers. Like sometimes we might be in a career where we think there's no way this could be used to spread the gospel.
Right.
And I think design outreach is a great example of how God can use anything. And he took this desire that some engineers had. It's like, how can we use our gifts for the kingdom? And you can see how it's snowballed over the years where, as you said, there's other people that retired from big corporations or research firms and all those kinds of things where they like, I want to get in on this. This sounds like a really cool project. Right. I want to be part of it. And to see God just grow that. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the website is designoutreach.org.
Correct.
But if they go there, as you mentioned, it's not bashful at all about what they're about. It is about showing the love of Jesus to people around the world by meeting the most very basic needs that we do, like you said, take for granted on a day-to-day basis. And as I look at the model, it is so Christ-like, because when we see Jesus with the 5,000, you know, they were hungry and he wanted to teach them spiritual truths, but he needed to meet that physical need. And because of that, they were so engaged to hear what he had to say. Or maybe it was something not simple for us, but simple for him, of turning water into wine at a wedding, or to give a blind man sight so that now his physical need was taken care of and he could address the spiritual need. So what you're doing is truly God's work. So we had mentioned at the top that, you know, I became aware that you were kind of getting involved or have been involved with design outreach. Give people a little bit of background. I don't think you're an engineer.
Nope.
So here's where it starts to expand. That maybe an engineer believed that God could use his talents. And then because that organization starts to grow, now somebody that's not an engineer can use their talents to combine with theirs to make it an even better organization. So tell us a little bit about what you've done in your professional career, and then maybe how your professional career and your heart for ministry collided to get you to design outreach.
You've done your homework well on DO. I'm pretty impressed with how you've seen how the Christ-like and basic needs meet together, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And so my background is I worked for Honda Manufacturing for 25 years in accounting finance role. And, many people in a company of 20,000 told me numerous times that you have the best job in a company. And I felt that way sometimes, but when I was grinding through whatever I was doing, it didn't feel that way a lot of times as well. But I loved my job. In 2021, the company came out with a package. They were trying to push out people over 55. And I said I wasn't going to do it. I loved my job too much. And at the last minute, I accepted the offer. And when I did it, I knew that my career wasn't over. But my wife, Tracy, she said, Bryan, you're going to find something, but it's not going to be easy. And so, I will plug Rooted, the Bible study that we do here I took Rooted 4 times. I flunked the first 3. I'm joking, but Rooted changed my prayer life significantly and changed how I look at compassion and how people who are marginalized are impacted.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, for 3 years after I retired, and this is kind of during COVID, I prayed about an opportunity. And, every day I'm just banging my head thinking, why am I doing this? Nothing's going to come of it. And, during that time, I was volunteering for 2 nonprofits here in Gahanna from an accounting perspective. And then a third thing that I was doing with my son is we were coaching the Gahanna Middle School baseball team. And when one of our first practices, I met some kid that was on the team, and he told me he had spent the previous summer, 3 months in Africa. And I said, hey, I want to hear more about that story, but we never got around to it. So as the season progressed, we're playing games, practicing every day. And my wife shows up at one of our games. It was a doubleheader on a Saturday. And she looks over, and this big tall guy standing beside her, and he's wearing a Design Outreach shirt. And she says, "Hey, I know about Design Outreach." And the reason we knew about Design Outreach, they'd come to Shepherd, they'd done a presentation on a Sunday morning, and we were kind of blown away by it. It was just like, wow, that's really cool what they're doing.
Yeah.
And we actually gave some money, but COVID came along. We kind of lost touch with them, and it was kind of an afterthought. But that day, Tracy met Greg watching a game. Greg kind of flipped it on her. He said, "Well, what do you know about Design Outreach?" And if you know Tracy, she's not afraid to share. And she just kind of started rattling stuff off. And he kind of flipped it back. He goes, "Well, I'm the founder of Design Outreach." And Tracy kind of feels a little bit silly, but nonetheless, that started a process for about 6 months where I reached out to them. And I think they wanted to find out, do I meet their needs? Am I going to help the organization?
Sure.
And then I'm trying to kind of understand what they're all about and make sure it was a good fit for me. But there was a 6-month courtship, and about a year and a half ago, I took the position, and here we sit.
Well, and the beautiful part of it is, God knew all this ahead of time. And so somewhat entertaining in my head to know that you were at Honda, like where a bunch of engineers live.
Yep, absolutely.
And having to deal with accounting there.
Yep.
And then walk into an organization now where you're doing accounting with a bunch of engineers.
That's right.
And there's always particular like things that you see, tendencies in people. I've done a lot of work in homes, and I can tell you if I'm in the home of an engineer or an architect without you telling me. And so it's wonderful that you're able to help them in that way, and to be able to, take care of the finances, because of course that's a big part of it. So if you would talk a little bit about how an organization like that, how they're kind of being funded. Tomorrow we'll get more into ways that we can chime in with that. But what are the different things you're doing now as you're handling the finance and the accounting piece of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have, when people look at an organization, usually organizations like this are funded by large gifts. And we are kind of entering that realm, but we really haven't really totally captured that. And a lot of our positions within the company, this is not my position, but they're support raising positions where they've got to go out and raise their own funding. And these are the engineering positions to work there. So they're going out, knocking on doors and saying, "Hey, can you support me?" And it's their friends and family and whoever God puts in their place. And so some of that comes from support raising fundraising. That's not our main source of revenue. The Life Pump, which we're going to talk about, which is our main product, for many years has been something where churches and organizations, clubs, affinity groups have gotten together and they said, "Hey, let's raise money for a Life Pump."
Right.
And so some of that are designated gifts that come in specifically designated for a product like the Life Pump or maybe something else. And that's been another way of funding. But the main other source of income is just people who have bought into what we're doing. They find out more about us and they say, "Wow, they really are meeting needs of people and they're doing it with a Christ orientation." And they say, "I want to give." So some people will do it on a monthly basis. Some people will do one-time annual gifts, but it comes from all different angles. But those are kind of the main things that jump out at me.
And we'll get some more into detail tomorrow. But as you were describing that, I just kind of, as you were talking about, sometimes churches or organizations sponsoring a Life Pump, and it was reminding me of some stories I've heard from Greg and conversations that we've had, and also some videos I've seen online. When that's an event, when a Life Pump is put in a village,
right?
It is hard for us to understand how transformational that really is. And you guys do it right. Like you bring in not only is the work team there to make all the stuff that needs to happen to make the pump work and for it to be reliable.
Right.
But also there's a whole nother team that's coming in to basically have a mini crusade at the time when this is happening. And it truly is a two-handed approach where, yes, we're going to make sure you have water, but also we're going to make sure you have the living water. And it's just a phenomenal ministry. Well, tomorrow we're going to get into some of the details of what these products are. Some are been around for a long time. Some are some newer ones, right, and some initiatives that are coming out, ways that you can get involved in it. And a little teaser for tomorrow, we find out that Bryan ended up going to Malawi, and we'll find out some details on that. In the meantime, you can go to shepnaz.org to follow everything that's going on with the church. We also encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For Bryan, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.